Hey guys, this is Mzu here, and welcome to Recording Magic, a Studio LDMM podcast. And today I have a very exciting guest and one who I am a big fan of. Some of you may know him, some of you may not, but after today, everyone will. Today with me, I've got Alan Mduduzi Kupeta. I don't know if I
Hello.
said your surname properly.
Yes. That's
Okay,
how
you
it's.
say it because I'm sure it's gonna sound so different when you say it.
Kupeta.
Kupeta.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
like
It's short enough for folding. So to peta is to fold. So yeah.
like I think they're in Zulu. Although what language is it? Kupeta, peta, upeta. It's like to sit cross-legged. I can't remember which language it is, but it's like almost like the folding of the legs to sit, like the way you'd say it in.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it means folding.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
It's got a
Okay,
more deeper, scarier meaning though. But
please give us this deeper, scarier meaning. We need to know this.
so I said like kupeta is to fold, right? So totems. I don't know if you have like totems that are like a certain animal that's attached to your clan or your history of your family. They're like known by a certain animal. So these were done to reduce incest. So if you ask someone, even if their surname is different, but they are from that animal clan, you cannot be like husband and wife with them. You have to look for someone. So that's why so my totem is a python. So a python folds itself. So the act of folding is of a python is my surname.
Wow. You've just given me like some serious information. The thing of the totems, I always just thought it was this one animal that everyone in the family really liked, or somehow in the mythology of the family, they all came from the snake or the giraffe or something like that. But it's such a elegant and intelligent system of making sure that certain people don't commit incest or get trapped in incest. That's ingenious, actually.
Yes, it is.
Wow, thank you for that. So before we started speaking live, you were telling me about where mic check 1 2 1 2 comes from, where that 1 2 1 2 comes from.
Oh, so the 1 2 and 1 2 comes from. I think it was just a coincidence that, fortunately, the word one sweeps through the whole frequency spectrum. When you say one, it almost like sweeps through the spectrum. And like in production, we remove sibilants. You get it? Which are those and the t's. And we're also testing for the one sweeping through the frequency and the t's on two. It's all. So if you are checking for a mic as an engineer, 1 2 will almost do the trick.
Wow, that makes so much sense because I've worked at many events where I see the sound engineer, he's testing all the mics, but he's saying 1 2 in the roughest way. I'm like wondering, does this guy what's happening? It's like 1 2 1 2 1. I'm just like, this guy is like either really passionate about this microphone or he just speaks weird. So this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, where do you learn these things? Where for you? How have you amassed this information?
Um, I've always thought like I'm stupid and I need to run faster to catch up. You get it? So I had to read a lot of more books and watch a lot of more YouTube videos. Yeah.
So you are from Zimbabwe.
Yes, but my father is South African.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird thing that happened there. So he went to Zimbabwe to find a Zimbabwean wife.
Like why why Zimbabwe?
Because of two reasons. They had beliefs that Zimbabwean women are better for some reason, and also my grandpa was like great grandpa or something was like an immigrant from Zimbabwe who became a South African and had South African kids, and then the kid went to get a. That's why I'm South African, but with a Shona surname. You get it? Because long back, a Shona came and migrated and married a South African, started a family here, and then the grandchildren or the kids went back to Zim to get the wife.
Okay. So did you grow up at all in Zimbabwe?
Yes, I did my primary school and high school in Zimbabwe, and then soon after high school, I came here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was that, as a creative person growing up in Zimbabwe?
Um, like there are Zimbabwe wasn't like always like even today it's not so bad that it can stifle art. There are actually quite big church programs, which is how I first got into music. So there's these Methodist programs. They hold competitions, yearly competitions, international competitions, and those things. That's how I got into music. So, but I would still agree that start having a career in music is more difficult because the music scene is still smaller, let's say, compared to the Nigerian music scene or the South African music scene. Judging by, let's say, the revenue that comes out of the music scene or how much the artists are paid on average. So it's a little it's been tougher, but at least there wasn't anything that really slowed me down in learning anything or being exposed to anything. I've always been exposed, even when I was growing up. Maybe I was just fortunate to be in a situation where I've never had. I actually had people teach me from a young age and push me in this direction.
So that leads to my next question. Like, where did it all start? Like, if you can paint us a picture of your earliest memory of you and music and learning music.
So I've always like my grandpa was a choir master at the Methodist church. So he always brought back home some papers, and then he would force us to get into these little choirs, and then we would sing as grandkids on Sundays sometimes. So I've always been performing in front of people for as long as I remember. But then the bigger thing than that was that my sister, who is a bit older than me, I went to the same high school she went, and she was a singer there. So when I got there, the headmaster was like, you are Lindsay's brother, straight to the choir. We're not even gonna ask you what you're good at. You get it? And I wasn't aware of what's happening. And then boom, I'm in the choir. Now I'm being trained by the Methodist church to until I became like a choir master at 13. I was 13, I think. Yeah, so I became the choir master of the high school, which was also the choir of the church, because the high school was like a missionary high school, so it was built around a church. So I was a choir master already, and that was like about for 1 year. And then I left that school, and then I went to another school, and then lucky enough I bumped into a friend of mine, and that friend was the one who was playing piano at the school. Just a coincidence. And then we started bunking lessons and going to play piano, and also during break time and stuff. And then that's when I started to play instruments that are melodic, because with Methodist it's just choir singing, and if you're gonna play an instrument, it's just the drum, the ngoma, only,
Okay.
or shakers a little bit. It's more traditional Methodist type of So yeah, so I was exposed now to the piano. Now I'm trying to figure out, oh, those do re mi from the choir are they are the
Are they
same do re
on the
mi's
actual
here. Now
keys?
I am trying to figure out my own things. Now I'm now realizing, oh, that's how it works. And stuff like that. And then after that, he is the same guy who also taught me to produce
Who
music.
is this guy? He needs a shout out. We need to like.
Oh yeah, the guy his name is Katon Moore. He's called Boogie Beats. That's like his studio name. He's now a huge producer in Zimbabwe.
We're probably gonna like put his picture right here. Right,
Somewhere.
right. One delay. You're gonna put his picture right here.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna be like, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So that's when he started. He taught me how to use software. You get it? Because he just had these ways of sourcing, beat up laptops or whatever. But it was just good enough for us to figure out how things work. You get it? And then after that, all along I wasn't taking music seriously. It was just kind of happening to me. You get it? And then at a certain point, one artist asked me, hey, you know what, you're studying this computer programming things and whatnot, but you've got abilities that are above mine. Like, if I had your abilities, I wouldn't waste time doing something else, because like I knew these doremis and things, you get it? And he just knew maybe to sing, project his voices nicely and all those things, but he doesn't have any knowledge to and also the doremis make you understand music better. Even in singing, it makes you a better singer. So he was so thrilled. So he was actually the one who convinced me, hey, you know what, with your abilities, if you become a musician today, you'll be better than me. Then that changed everything. And he's also now a big musician in Zimbabwe right now. His name is Tabani. His stage name is Drill Nova. He's actually pretty good. Yeah, he's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he got me into these things, and then I ended up going to college of music, and then I started guitar, majored in guitar, contemporary and jazz, not classical.
Okay.
And then after that, after college, I looked for a job. I found a job as a music teacher, but as an African music teacher. That's what exposed me to African instruments, because now I have to teach marimbas and stuff.
Yes. So how was that? How did, I mean, when did you, if you did, fall in love with the instruments? I mean, what's your relationship with these instruments?
I would say, to be honest, I would say the relationship that I had that was strongest so far, it was like from the guitar. That's why I went to college to study specifically that, because I felt I wanted to be the best at that. You get it? Sorry, what was the question?
It was the question around your relationship with the indigenous instruments, because you became an African music teacher.
Okay. So okay. Let's say it's like another like timeline. Do you get that? Yeah. Let's say it's another timeline where I didn't bump into someone who helped me get this job, right? Maybe I get another job as a producer at SABC, for example, and then now I'm working at SABC. I wouldn't be playing these things. Do you get it? Yeah. So it's not like I grew up thinking that, you know what, when I grow up I want to play mbiras and the koshkash. It's not like that. So it's like a passion. No, it's not. It's just that, okay, I'm in a position where, like, I remember choir master at 13. It gave me like an insight to how to get information into someone's head. You get it from a young age. So I had, like, by the time I was 20, I had like so much experience, because even I went to other churches also. This same Caton guy, when he took me to his church, and then that's when we started playing other instruments and introduced me to stage playing and things like that. So that's how so as teaching African instruments, right? I realized that okay, I've got this production skill that I learned from this guy, and also I had another band before. It's called Zama and the Allen, where I was playing guitar and we were composing these things. So I was making the videos for this band, doing the production for this band, and now I'm like, okay, my vocalist moved to Germany. I don't have a vocalist anymore. So, but I've got these skills. I've got a camera. I've got all this equipment, and I've got access to African instruments since I'm already a teacher there. You get it? So I'm in a unique position to have all the skills to be able to do this. You get it? And then when I realized that, I said, okay, let me get some help. You get it? I went to some people who are like learned in African instruments. They taught me, they got me the best books, right? Books written by Hugh Tracy, who is a guy who traveled around Africa and documented everything about African culture and instruments as much as he could. So I got this book, started reading about everything, the cultures, the all Southern African cultures.
Sorry to interrupt you,
Uh-huh.
but the Hugh Tracy one is such a topical issue for me, and I've thought about it a lot because I've listened to a lot of the recordings he did, all over, and it's amazing. And I just think about how we are almost like, through these recordings, because I feel like when someone records something, you're listening through their lens. Because you know how he talks before his recordings and says, these are the Ho-Ho nation of the Barungi tribe. And they do a kind of hey noddy noddy kind of, he has all these
so
English mannerisms that
it's not
great. And I guess the thing that I want to say is that I guess it's unfortunate that that's the only very reliable resource we have to hear what they made at that time. You know?
That's so sad. That's so sad. And also in the books, there are times where he said, okay, there are these things that used to happen. Like let's say was it the Soto, right? Girls, they would have these dances that they would do at night, you get it? But we never got to be able to record them because it was banned by the missionary. They got there before we could figure out what happened, because they said maybe it involves sexual movements or something like that. You get it? So even Hugh Tracy could not get to some places before the things were already erased. Yeah, so even Hugh Tracy couldn't get there before some missionaries. So some things were just completely lost.
Wow, I think about that so much, and how certain things needed to happen so that our history could be recorded in the way the world was recording it. I guess as Africans, we have a long history of passing things on. We pass it down and it evolves on the way, but we didn't necessarily, we recorded it in our creative psyches, as opposed to it being recorded on wax, like Hugh Tracy coming through and recording it. But I guess somehow we had to move into this new world, and that's always tough. But at the same time, it feels like some things were so delicate that they got lost in time. Just like you're talking about the story with I don't know if it's made up, but I can imagine that there's certain things that couldn't be recorded. And since they weren't recorded, and history has changed so much that we just don't know them anymore. Why certain songs were sang, when they were sang, certain kind of like music genres which were only held by a specific group of people in a community. Yeah.
Why do you think people sang certain songs and did certain things at certain times? Like let's say the thing that's being lost, like the culture that's been lost, why is it important? Because we can just make other culture.
I think it's important, especially I think on an ancestral spiritual level, because of certain rites of passage that we might have had. And I think it depends on everyone's beliefs. But, I think there's something, that's left residually in us. as people that sometimes hungers for things that the ancient people did. You know, like when I turned 21, I didn't want to have like a 21st birthday party. I actually wanted to do a traditional ceremony to thank my ancestors that I've crossed this threshold. And I wasn't necessarily ancestrally inclined at the time, but there was such a drive in me, you know, to do that, that I realized that no, this was something that was coming from something very old, you know. So I think that definitely there's a thing of creating new traditions, new rites of passage, but I think there is a residual kind of inheritance of certain things, you know, of singing certain songs, you know. Similarly, like if you go into an area like Mpondo Land and you go to the hut where there's a sangoma ceremony going on, you know, and there's certain spaces where certain people sit, you know, right to the when you enter the door on the right it's the men, and then on the next to the men on the other side of the room sits the sangomas, and then on the left of the sangomas or on the right of the sangomas then you have the twasas, the initiates, and then on the right of the initiates then you have the young girls and women, you know. So it's almost like there's these things which have just formed like this fabric where you sit in the space and you can almost feel, you know, the energy of that, you know, and why it's there. I don't know if I answered your question.
I get it.
Yeah.
Cool. So here's like an almost like scientific way, like creating new culture or tradition is impossible. Reason why it's impossible is like you're trying to make a new vaccine, right? And why was this previous vaccine an issue? Because it wasn't tested for enough years yet. We don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. You get it? So whatever rule you come up with now and say this is our tradition, you do not know the side effects of that thing 15 years in future. So the better thing is something that's been proven. You get it? So yes, we can try to do something, but we have to wait 15 years. Let's see what ended up happening. Oh, now we've got 50 plus percent divorce rates. You get it? Because we tried something and then we just went with some things and then we thought that's going to make things better, but it wasn't tested. Now we've got the results. You get it? So you can't just make up something now and think it's going to beat something that's been tried and tested. Because I think culture is just a way to allow us to live with our biology. You feel like this, okay, so for us to tame those feelings, those ideas, that biology, or to keep it under control or to guide it or whatever, let us make a thing that remind us of humility and of whatever, and then so before we eat we pray, something like that. You get it? It's something that's coming out of trying to tame your that inner biology thing. You get it?
So it leads me to an interesting question, and it's about these amazing instruments.
Yeah.
And it's that, do you feel like you have a spiritual relationship with them, or that they touch something in you that is not, you know, tangible?
100% guaranteed. Like, especially with the mbira, which, remember earlier I was saying I was attached to the guitar the most, but now I'm more attached to the mbira now because I'm starting to get a certain understanding of it. And when it plays, I certainly can feel something that is out of anything I'm used to or anything I've experienced before. You get it? However, that's where that story ends. It doesn't get into like some other, let's say now I feel like I'm gonna play for a spirit medium or I am gonna become a spirit medium. It does not continue to those extents, but it is more of a I'm feeling like I can express myself more through this instrument, or I like how this instrument expresses how I feel. You
But
get it?
somehow, do you feel like it also has a kind of like effect on your nervous system? You know, because you know how vibration affects our bodies. You know, and certain instruments, every instrument kind of like gives us a different feeling for life. You know, do you feel like there's a kind of a physiological shift that happens when you are using the mbira?
In terms of physiological shift, I don't know much about that, but this shift is more spiritual than physiological. So the thing has to get through my ears first. So for example, if my ears are shut, it's not gonna produce anything that's going to affect me like that. Maybe okay, there's something okay. Like for example, like some of these things, the problem with some of these things is it takes a long time before you see the certain result of something. So maybe at a certain thing, at a certain extent, it's actually giving me a physiological shift and actually making me resonate better with life and everything in general, and actually making me a better person. But I don't see it now in 2 days. You get it? So it's something that takes like meditation.
Like you learning the instrument creates a long term shift in your life.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we've got a number of instruments here.
Nice.
And I wanted to kind of like get a feel for the different things. And maybe as we go through it, you can just like talk us through each of the instruments. And we're going to get our second camera going so you guys at home can get a bit of a closer view. But the thing I was saying earlier to you before you start was that for me, the mbira is such a haunting, the sound of it is so haunting. It actually, in a sense, I can hear the happiness of it, but it's also like, it's got a bit of also like a melancholy, kind of like ghostly vibe, you know?
Okay. Do you know what's the name of this mbira? It's called mbira, yes, but there are other types of mbiras like this one. Can you see it's different? What do you see is different here?
You can show them. But from what I see, first is the size. This one has got a little bit of an indentation on the wood.
Okay, but the keys.
The keys are less. Here it's like almost like there's a up and down thing going on, and on the other half here there's almost like a uniformity on one side and almost a totally different instrument on the other.
Yeah. So this one is called the nyunga mbira. It's not an old instrument. It's a mbira design that was someone stole it from a Mozambican type of mbira, and then they brought it to Zimbabwe, and then they tried to make something that someone can pick up the first time and learn. You get it? Because this one is laid out in a way that you can't even understand what's going on here. So they made the nyunga mbira, and this wasn't long ago. It was maybe in the 60s, right? So I don't use that one. That's the one I used to learn, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
So because there was this one, still remember the thing I was talking about culture earlier. You can't just come up with something.
Yes.
So even if that one is like from the 60s, that's a bit long ago, but it's not long enough yet for it to be refined enough. This one is that old, right? So this one is called the mbira zava dzimo. You know what that means?
Mbira yabadimu, like the ancestors mbira.
Yeah, so that's the actual name. So maybe it's not ghostly only to you. You get it? So to everyone actually, because that's actually the actual name.
So it's like an ancestral instrument.
Yeah, it's an ancestral instrument, right? So why is it called Zava Dzimo? So there are two reasons, right? So when spirit mediums are coming out, right, they're evoked by different things. A lot of them are evoked by the mbiras because that's what they understand. If you play them rock and roll, they're not gonna get it, right? Because whoever you want them to help us, you want them to help us because he can see things like in the spirit. So maybe he likes that music. That's why they also use snuff, because there were no cigarettes long ago.
Yeah.
We need something that they get. You get it? Snuff and miras. And then that's the first reason, right? And then the actual reason now why it's called mbira dzawadzimo is it means it's mbira that was designed by the ancestors.
It's of
right?
the ancestors.
It took maybe 1,000 years or whatever of trial and error until they ended up on this layout, and this layout became more popular, and then it became more known than other versions of mbira, and it became the one that stuck out the longest. So when we say mbira dzawadzimo, we're not saying they invoke the spirit or whatever, but we are saying we are playing an ancient instrument.
Yeah.
That's
Because
basically-
ancestors are just who we come from. It's not always necessarily, the spiritual connotation that people usually have. So you're gonna play us some, and
Okay.
somehow this instrument, like the metal on it, makes me think about railroads for some reason.
Some people think of spoons. They call it a spoon
Yeah.
set. I'm like, really? But I kind of see it also. So yeah. So so this is what I'll do, right?
Yeah.
I'll play something small, and then I'll introduce
Yes,
something else, and then I
definitely.
play something small again, and
Yes.
then we go like
Perfect.
that, right? So the other thing now about the mbira dzawadzimo now, or the mbira in general, or African instrument in general, you have to learn to play how it's played. You get it? Because some people come, then they're like, you know what? You have to make the instrument your own. You have to express yourself, right? And then they go on the mbira and do something like this. And then they like, we've made something. No, you get it. I understand, but you have to. It's different from this.
Sure. Like when I'm listening to that, all I'm hearing is Oliver Mtukuti's voice.
Nice.
Like honestly, I feel like he's saying like a rough voiced mbira.
nice. That would be nice. So I'm playing something from long ago, right? But I'm not I'm playing it in my way. That's what you're supposed to do. So the reason why you should play it the way it's been played before is the notes were laid out also for those songs. So it works best for those songs. You get it? But at least it's a wide variety of songs, so it's not like limited too much.
True.
And then there is also a little mbira. It's also a mbira dzawadzimo, but on this one it's tinier. You can see that. So so a lot of people say they like this nyunga instead because it's easier.
Wait, didn't Hugh Tracy? Who was it that created like it was called a
Kalimba.
kalimba?
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't there like kind of an
Hugh
appropriation,
Tracy,
cultural appropriation?
Yeah, there was, and then okay, fine. So they modeled it from the nyunga mbira, and then they used this to right. So anyway, I'm saying people say nyunga is better because it's easier to learn. So when introducing someone or like a child to nyunga is like better, but it's because you cannot teach. That's why you think that this thing is not necessary, man. You can get straight into
the real
right
thing.
So the things that are easy, like okay, you'll be like left, right, you can do the same thing on here. Sorry. So you can also start easy, but on the actual mbira. You get it? Not for the starters and
No,
beginners.
no training wheels.
Yeah, not training wheels, because now when you come from that, now you're starting to learn from scratch again. So it wasn't necessary for you to limit yourself in the beginning. You get it? So yeah. So this one is
Okay.
small one, but I removed a key from the end there
Okay.
because now they can't fit. You get it?
Oh, all
Because
right.
it's the same as this, but in a higher octave, right? So I just removed the key so that because now I was hitting two keys at a time, and the aim for this is for children, right? Because I want to introduce. So if I want to introduce kids to it, they don't want something that's gonna be heavy for them and all that. So that's a
I've
smaller
seen the mbira that's in kind of like a round enclosure.
Yeah. That's the dream actually. I want that. It causes it to be acoustic. So you get electric guitar. It's a thin piece of wood like this. That's
Yeah.
why it doesn't sound like much when you when you're just playing without plugging it in. That's why this one I plug it in if I want to amplify. I'm gonna plug it in on the day.
So one delay who's on camera, we were speaking about this very thing about electrifying traditional instruments, and I am so happy that you're here so that we can like actually explore that idea. We were scared to explore it because we're like, we want to make something before we go out in the world and start making noise about it, but you've done it. Please take us through that.
Yeah. So amplifying. There are some that can't be amplified like this. How are you gonna plug this to? There's no way. But this you can plug it in, right? So you just get a piezo pickup, right? You can buy a piezo pickup. It can cost like $200 or 300 or something. But I'll tell you where to find it. That's cheaper. So don't tell anyone.
Okay.
So you can if you buy a card, the one that you open and it makes a sound, that thing that's making a sound is that thing. It's the exact same thing. It's just like this is a microphone also. I mean, it's a speaker also. You get how that works, right? So that's how this works. So that thing from a card, take it out, stick it on your instrument, whatever instrument it is. So you can put it on even on an acoustic guitar, stick it there. It will still work as a pickup, I did buy though.
Okay.
So I'm still like looking for the best positions to get the best sound. Otherwise, I use multiple.
How's the sound quality? I mean, do you get the same feeling, from recording? Because I guess you can use the pickup also for recording the instrument or playing it through speakers. Do you feel like you're getting the same thing? So the quality of the sound.
Yeah, so there's always a loss. So for example, you are recording someone's voice into the mic. It won't sound like you're listening to the person speaking directly. There's always some kind of loss and some kind of interpretation by something else. For example, I haven't yet patched it up nicely because you see these are still disconnected. I'm still looking for spots where I get the best sound because it's not always the best sound.
Yes.
You get it? So, but still, even if I get the best sound out of this, there are still other things like the sound of
or your fingers
sliding
brushing
onto
against,
there.
yeah.
You get it? You can only get those nuances using a mic. So when I'm recording in a studio, I record the mbira straight into the mic.
Okay.
But now a mic will not work for performing live now. You get it? So to answer your question, no, you won't get the same sound quality using piezo pickups.
Okay.
You can just get something usable.
But what inspired you to put a pickup on the mbira?
Because I wanted to play at gigs. I'm a huge performer, man. Like performance is like my thing. You get it?
No, I've seen.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that. Let's go into the rest of the instruments that we have.
So this is a smaller.
Yeah.
Let's see. This sounds haunting. Let's see if this sounds haunting.
Okay, I'm ready.
Right?
I think it's that, you know, it gets haunting. It's that turnaround. You know, like you go on that high, da, 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 and then when you go into the lower, dun, 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 dun. That part, somehow when that shift happens, it's like almost like it shifts energy. There's a shift in energy that
I totally get what you're saying. Like I deliberately do it. So yeah.
I knew that they deliberately do that. You guys.
Oh, okay. So and then by the way, these are called idiophones, right?
Okay.
So idiophones are instruments where you can hit the outside of it and make the music using that, right? It's a
Idiophone. That word, I don't know. It's just like
idiophone. Also, these are idiophones.
Okay.
Because you're playing the actual thing.
Yeah.
You get
But
it?
I wonder what's the etymology of that word, idiophone.
I forgot.
Okay, we'll find out. We'll put it like here.
Yeah, somewhere.
We'll put it here.
What an idiophone. Okay, cool. So these are called idiophones. They've got things inside, either seeds or whatever. Like in mine, they are like stones that don't shatter, right? And then there. So this one is really nice, because it's from Ghana. It's called Kush Cash. It was trending last year.
Yeah, it was. I saw online.
Yeah. So it's like two shakers. This is just some kind of a fruit, and then a fruit with a really hard shell for some reason, and then join it to the. So it allows you to be able to do things like this, right? So
it's like the martial arts of African music.
Yeah. Nunchucks.
Yeah, exactly.
So now the tricky thing is just doing that is difficult, because when it goes around, catching it is so. Yeah. Okay, so let me just give you a 30-second let's try, right? So tough. you put it in like that, and then first thing it has to go over your thumb, and then you stop. Over your thumb. There we go. Right? You don't have to catch it. We just like this, right? And then now you use your thumb to swing it around and then catch it. Yeah. So if it helps also to use gravity so that it goes and falls inside your hand like that. So if it's on the side like this, it's harder to catch. So check you're turning your hand.
Oh, all right.
It's facing up at the end of the thing. Yeah. Now turn. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's. There
I got
we
it.
go. You got it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't get it.
There we go.
Carry on.
Yeah. So that's how it works, right? So you now to make rhythms with this, it's hard to play without catching it. You get it? Because what are you gonna do when it gets there? It's gonna and then it loses momentum.
Yeah.
So you always have to catch it. So you need two of them so that you can play something that's continuous.
Okay.
Otherwise, so on that gap where you catch the other one is going. You get it?
Man,
so that's how you can make continuous beats with the push cash.
Wow. This is like, it's such a so innovative. This is like very, very innovative, man.
Yeah. And also like you can add so you can add things there. I'm still also learning.
Like little flourishes and things
yeah.
like that.
So you can do other things there.
But I saw them on your Amapiano Beats episode.
Yeah.
And that you're making like an Amapiano beat with traditional instruments.
Yes. I still have to do that. Because I'll be having more and more ideas. So I end up leaving something. So I need to find a way to be more.
We'll be staying in tune for that.
So and then there are shakers. These are from Zimbabwe. Like I imported these because for some reason you can't find these fruits in South Africa. Like what? So it's some kind of a pumpkin. You get it? So you see, it looks like a butternut almost.
It does.
And then they take out the outsides, and then they.
I don't know how they do it.
So now the thing now also is if there are two of them, they make more complex rhythm, right? With one hand you can do something like this. Just like the kushkas when the other thing does. So now when it's two of them, you can make a choo-choo train type of a
I see. That's amazing.
So
This looks so different. I mean, with this whole it like seems to be some sort of animal skin.
Yes.
And
yeah, they also use it as like a cup. You get it? So imagine this thing is not there. You can.
So it's just like
and then it's a thing. You get it? So they just put these. So, this was just an experimental design, but it actually works really well. Yeah.
Experimental design by you.
Oh no, by this guy Mataki.
Oh, so he created this. So this wasn't like this in terms of as an instrument. He designed and created this instrument.
Yeah, he has a general idea.
Okay.
And then so it's just like the kushkash is the same who makes the kushkash and the miras. So even the uhadi. So he hasn't made it before, but he's made instruments. So I just go to him, please make me this thing, and then he makes me.
So he understands the science essentially behind what it takes.
If he doesn't know, he does the research, and then he does the design. You get it?
This is amazing.
So those are also called idiophones. All these things I've been playing are idiophones, right? Now we've got a chordophone. This is called the ohadi. Yes, a chordophone, obviously. Yeah, because it works
with chords.
Yeah. And this is a very, very interesting instrument. Because when I first saw it, I thought, but this thing only has one string, right? So what, what can it possibly do? But
there's a lot.
A whole genre like Maskandi came out of one string, bruh.
Yeah.
So you've got no idea how that happens. Okay. So with this one is called the ohadi. With the bow, I think it came from the hunting bow, right? And then with the string thing.
Is there a difference for you? What would be the marked difference for you between the ohadi and makwean? I think it's called makwean.
Is it the one with the division here?
Yes.
That one now can make more notes than the ohadi.
Okay.
You get it? Because now you've got this side and this side, but it's not like much more notes. It's just like one more note.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
So this one only makes two notes, right?
Okay.
Do you know what a chord is?
A chord is a combination of like a couple of notes, like with the guitar, like there's triads and then there's
Do you know you can make a seventh chord with this?
Get out of here, man!
Get
out of here,
man!
How?
With this thing, bruh, let me show you. So, right, there's the fundamental.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So we've got no and can you hear that?
Yes.
One? And let me give you a third one. Right? Let me give you a fourth one. Hey, that one is hard. Like it's almost there, but it's at the end, so you can't really hear it.
So it seems like to change, it changes the kind of like key the more you're
based
like hitting it.
on how much I open or close this.
Oh, okay, to the breast. Because
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in my research of this instrument, you know, it generally like played by women
Yeah,
a
yeah.
long time ago, but it's
Yeah.
also played like on the bare kind of like chest,
Yeah.
you know, and the opening it just
Yeah,
creates.
that's the whole
Yeah.
point of this. So
Okay.
that you can so each amount of opening emphasizes a certain overtone. You get it? So you're just choosing which overtone to emphasize by that's why if I open and close, it sounds like wee wee.
Yeah, that okay. It's like it's talking, you know.
Yeah, it's because those overtones are shifting the one that you get it. So I can actually be following chords using that, right? That's one note that does that, and then we've got another note that does the other things also. You get it? With its overtones. So how many notes now?
Isn't that like
8.
I was gonna say 6, but now
Yeah,
we had 8.
with one string.
Wow.
Right. So this is an interesting thing about it is you can't control which overtone. It's just either the third, the fifth, or the seventh. That's why it's a dominant 7 chord, right? The flat 7. So those are the only notes that you can produce. Which means when you go to this, the notes of the first one, if they are do re mi fa sol la ti do, on the next, if it's all again do re mi fa sol la ti do, starting from the other note, the notes go and clash somewhere there. You get it? So because of that clash, they moved the other note on the side and then created their own scale of singing based on this. That's so that thing is kind of out of the scale, but now let's sing it and emphasize it because that's what works best with the instrument. You get it?
I see.
And then if you hear that kind of sounds like bosom prong or something, that's how that genre end up coming from just one string.
Please check out Busim Hlongo, guys. That is that woman is an electricity. You know, it's like you. Oh my God! Just Busim Hlongo. I know that there's people who know her, but for those who don't, if you want a taste of very, for me, almost Afrofuturistic African music. I don't know if those words even go together. She's such a vibe. The other drum is over here.
Oh, okay. Okay, so before we go to the drums, let me play you another one.
Okay,
right?
cool.
This one is called Nemam Sasa. Nemam Sasa is just like a jazz, a Mpira standard. So
Nemam Sasa.
Yeah, just
all right.
Yeah. It's not one person's song. It's just like a Mpira standard. People just compose whatever they want to compose around that. Right. So. Cool, that was Demam
It sounds it looks just as confusing to play as the drums. You know how the drums, your foot has to be doing one thing,
Yeah.
and then then you're also telling the rest of the band what to do.
Yeah,
So
it's
it feels
crazy.
like there's so many movements that are happening with the fingers.
Yeah. Because this one is actually powerful. Like it's more powerful than a guitar. A guitar cannot do this, right? For example, right? So let's say on this side I'm playing octaves. You know what octaves are? Yeah. So right? How is the guitar gonna do that?
Sure.
It'd be like don don tin don 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 tin don
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun.
dun
Nah,
dun
yeah.
dun dun
You
dun.
need a second person like with really small fingers playing the
Yeah,
other keys.
or you're gonna do some tapping style. You get
Yeah,
it? That's
yeah,
so
yeah,
just
yeah,
out
yeah.
there. You get it? But there's an
Yeah.
instrument that can do that without having
Yeah.
to do crazy
I
things.
think this is a challenge to Ed Sheeran. This is the Ed Sheeran, we're calling you out, brother. You gotta do what the Mbira does, but on the guitar. If you're really hot cheese. Yeah.
Okay. And then there are the membranophones.
Okay.
So the membranophones are
Membranophones.
yeah.
Membranophones.
Yeah, just like that. So you as you can see, it's actually an animal
Yeah.
of a skin. Like I usually like to make it gruesome to the kids. You get it? I'll be like, you know what? When they chopped the head of the cow off and then they skinned the skin off and then they. Okay. Anyway, so
R.I.P. to the cow. You lived a good life. Thank you for the music.
So sorry. so it's like a membrane, right? Just
yes.
like when you're peeling an egg, that membrane,
Yes, the
and then you
membrane.
take it, you make a gem.
Thin layer of skin.
Yeah, exactly. So but this one has a special thing going on because it's like an hourglass.
I can see that.
Yeah, and it's covered both ends.
Yeah.
So now that hourglass allows you to change the sound.
Sounds like a big drama is playing out. Feels like I'm
thing.
I'm in Black Panther or something like
Yeah,
that.
so
Wow.
yeah, so you can.
So wait, what's this one called?
This one is called a talking drum. Like I couldn't find an African name for it. If someone knows, please comment with the African name. Yeah, so you kind of squeeze it in. You get it? So that's what I like, like when I'm producing, you get it?
Yeah.
I like to actually make the sound.
Okay.
That's
it
why
like-
I've got many
Wow.
different ones.
So this like the strings like pull the
skin.
the membrane, the skin
towards.
oh wow! I always wondered how that instrument worked.
Oh, there we go. That's how it works.
Thank you.
So it's
Yeah.
just push. Yeah. It's got the ring
It's
around.
amazing, guys.
It
like
is, right? It is.
we are amazing.
And that cow skin is so tough. Thank you, cow, for your
Thank
tough
you,
skin.
thank you.
Okay, and then
Moo.
we've got this one. This one is made from more modern materials,
Yeah.
right? And it's not a djembe anymore. It's something completely different. This wasn't made from wood. Initially, it was made from clay because they needed to be very hard.
Okay.
Clay and some hair skin or something.
Okay.
So this is not a djembe. This one is called a tabla or a darbuka. And the way you play it, so at the beginning I was like, this is a very badly designed djembe because how are you gonna deal with this? You get it? and I was looking for the dynamics and it wasn't working the way I was looking, man. I was looking for a djembe. I need some kind of a dynamic and it doesn't have that. But it turns out I was playing it very, very wrong. You get it? You don't put it like a djembe like this.
Yeah.
You put it on the side and then the way you hit it is interesting. You
Yeah.
have to hit with the very, very tips of your fingers.
Yeah.
So there are, for example, the middle one, dom. It's very tricky to make that sound because I just hit with the top of 3 to 4 fingers. And then when you're hitting, you hit with this. And then those ones follow and then hit. So
it's like dunking a basketball.
yeah, something like that. Right. That's how you do it. And then your hand is supposed to bounce off to allow the ring to happen. So it's not like
reverberations.
Exactly. So it's not all that simple, right? And then so they could be like rolls, fingers. You can't do that on a djembe or anything else. It's its own thing. You get it? So that's when I started understanding. This is its own thing.
What's the origins? I mean, is it like Egyptian?
Yes, it's Egyptian.
Egyptian.
So but a lot of people try to claim ownership, like Algerians or Tunisians.
But it gives me also like a bit of an Indian feel too.
Yeah, because it's more like an Arabic instrument. All the Arabic nations play similar, and Arabic is not Indian though, but it's similar enough for it to give.
But I guess as people traveled and migrated, they took things with them.
Exactly, and colonized. You get it, and spread things around that way.
This is amazing.
Yes. What else?
What else did we have?
I think what is that it?
I think that's it, and that's perfect.
I left the
actually.
one I would have brought the one.
No, man, that's what I wanted to hear. Is that like one string guitar? That's like wow.
Wow.
Please come closer.
Oh yeah.
So what I wanted to get into was the recording of these instruments, and what have you found were some of the challenges in recording them? In studio and that whole kind of thing.
The thing that was most difficult for me to record, like by the time I started recording instruments, I had so much experience that nothing bothered me. Like I knew what I needed to do immediately. But sometimes djembe, you get it, because it's too loud. So it's hard to control. You know what djembe is? I didn't bring it, the one that other guy brought. So now you want to not get the room sound, so you put the mic close to the djembe, but now if you put it too close, it's too loud also. So djembe has had that thing going on, you get it? That, how am I going to deal with this? But usually if you have a nice room, the mic can pick up the room and it's not too bad, you get it? So if you have
what is the best way to record a djembe?
Is to get the mic. Yeah, this is the other problem with recording the djembe. It's not like on a stand. It's like on your legs, and you are moving so much. You don't realize it until there's a mic there that you're bumping the mic so many times. You get it? And then so now it's hard to put it close, and then you bump it at the same time. So my point is, the best position is as close to the djembe as possible, but without bumping the mic. Yeah, so it has to be as close as possible. So because djembe
and what kind of mic? I mean, because there's compressors, there's dynamic mics. What kind of mic would you use to mic up a djembe?
If it's for studio recording, a compressor that doesn't sense too easily because of the clipping. Because if it clips, then that thing is going to be loud. Because if you play it softly, it produces a different tone. So sometimes for you to get that high tone, you have to hit it hard. And then it makes such a noise. So any mic that doesn't pick up way too much, that needs any studio mic is fine, really. It's fine. they're used to things like that. Because if you can mic a drum like a snare, imagine the noise of a snare. So if you can mic that,
yeah.
you can mic a djembe with that same mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have your own studio, and you also have Rhythm in Africa, your
Oh, yeah.
brand. Can you please tell us about that and your studio? Is that the same thing?
So the studio is there to do Rhythm in Africa stuff. So for example, I need to shoot things on a green screen. You get it? I need to have lights. I need to have good sound. I need to. So if you accumulate those things together, they end up being a studio. But the intention wasn't to build a studio. You get it?
You seem to constantly like fall into things, like you fell into the music, then things just came together to create a studio.
Yeah. I'm a strong proponent of parents who force their kids to do something. You get it? At a young age, because that's what
Yeah.
happened to me, and I appreciate it. So like, because you can't wait. If you wait for someone and then they're 12 now, by then, bruh, it's already late, man. When you're 12, it's late.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to convince them to do certain new things.
You get it, and also others have been doing for 6 years at that time. They're 6 years ahead of your kid. So if you want your kid to be ahead, you gotta force some things down their throat, bruh.
So I guess let me translate that. You need to expose your child to varying experiences and crafts so that they can choose for themselves what it is that they wanna be. And then the way he said it, you need to.
Yeah, by the
Yeah.
time you're 18 and old enough to choose something, it's
Yeah.
way too late.
It is. Well, in certain exceptions, but
Yeah.
generally, they say that the best time to bend metal, or is or what is it? The best way to bend wood is when it's wet.
True.
The best way to bend wood is when it's wet. Like when
Yeah.
it's still like just off, when you've broken off a branch of a tree, you can bend. But once it dries,
Yeah, but it usually works for most kids because most kids don't have that thing. You get it? But if you figure out that my kid is good at drums, then put everything to those drums,
towards those
even
drums.
if it's not coming from you. If you
Yeah.
just figure out at a very early age, put them down that path hard. You get it?
And
By the
most
time they're
parents
10
know. I mean, if I think as a parent or anyone, if you're paying enough attention, you can see kind of like the things that your child is drawn to.
Exactly.
And you actually work with kids. I mean, you're also a music teacher
Yeah.
at a school.
Yeah.
So before we come
schools.
back more to Rhythm in Africa, maybe you could just let us know about how's being the journey of being an educator been.
It's nice because meaning of life, you get it. I've got all these skills. At least I can pass them down. It's not like I'm not gonna die with them. You get it. So meaning of life, it gives me that. So best job ever, like to pass down information. And it's a nice school, man. Like they are nice schools. I'm fortunate enough to teach at more than one school.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's fun. Like I teach primary, so kids, man, they just come up with sentences in a way that's like out of the ordinary, and it keeps happening every day, man.
So please tell us about Rhythm in Africa.
Oh yeah, so this is something else that's been happening, right? I've been sending some music to TV, like through to Generations, Dingo, and all those things, like those background music. So I needed a bunch of things also. So as much as this was serving the Rhythm in Africa channel, it's also serving like to me, like if I get a job to make a score for a certain movie. Like I did a song for an Indian movie once, and I'm working with another Nigerian Nollywood type of thing, and they want me to do music for the whole movie. So I would need the things, you get it. So they're also serving that side as well. So in short, I say Rhythm in Africa came up as, okay, I had a band before. if my vocalist
Yes.
was still here also.
Zama
Yeah.
and Ellen.
Yeah, but she went to Germany.
Yeah.
And so now I've got all this equipment and stuff. Decided to start a channel, and then so now I'm pushing the channel. Now I'm actually also selling the instruments. So if you want timbira, I'm teaching you about something. Then you say, okay, where do I find it? There it is. You get it.
So you can get the mbiras, the uhadi, the kishkash, the
Every
kushkash
yes,
from Ellen at Rhythm in Africa.
yes,
So
yes,
can you just lightly touch on the band, because we found your music online and we saw that you had released, I think, an EP in 2016.
yes.
That was called, what was it called?
Factual opinion.
Factual Opinion. So how did that band start?
I was in bands before that, and then my keyboardist's girlfriend was this one, and then they broke up, and then she started coming to chill, you get it, and then okay, she's sad and stuff, but why don't we make music? Because you seem like you have a nice voice and whatnot. Anyway, I realized that, and I started wanting to steal music from her. You get it? I was like, okay, can you just do this? Can you just do this? And then I'm listening there, and then she's like, nah, bruh. Let's start a band. If you
like,
wanna
you're
take my
jacking
music,
me, you're
you
jacking.
get it?
She called you out.
You get it? And then we started this band, and it was quite successful, man.
I saw.
Yeah,
I
we
saw.
didn't have a manager or anything. So I was like, okay, you do the management, I will do the production. And then you go study that, I go study that. We did that for a year, and then we came back stronger, and then we started doing everything by ourselves, except publishing.
Yeah.
You can't publish by yourself. Yeah.
So guys, check out Zama and Ellen. They're there on SoundCloud, on Spotify.
And
I think there's even quite a few videos on YouTube, man. It's like you guys gave me a Black Sunshine feeling almost, just in
Yeah,
terms
I
of how
know.
your duo is set up. So please
way.
check them out, Zama and Ellen. It's amazing. So I saw a really old photo on your Facebook of you on a bicycle. So, so you were a cyclist before.
Yes, and I still cycle to work. It's like 12 kilometers to work, 12 back sometimes. Yeah, because I don't wanna be left next time I ride with someone, right? So I have to keep it up.
Okay.
Oh hey, I used to actually cycle, like to be in a national team, Zimbabwean.
Wow.
Yeah, I was cycling in the juniors there long ago. I was
Amazing.
I actually wanted to make a career out of it, and then I did many other things before music. I couldn't see that I should do music. Yeah.
So can you, just in the way of us closing off the discussion that we are having, which we need to have a round 2 of this, because there's many more instruments that we need to talk about and a lot of more recording related things we need to speak about. If you could give a word of advice to anyone who's starting out in their recording or music career, in terms of things that they can do with limited resources.
With limited resource, you need some resources.
Yeah, but sometimes it's limited. Sometimes you just got a USB mic and a laptop, Like, what for you can make the circle
Okay,
bigger?
when it comes to recording, it doesn't really matter your equipment or your software. You just have to kind of know how sound works and how to get it to the point that you need, right? But minimum, what I would say, like, minimum is try to get some kind of instrument that you play. Even if you're just a producer, when you're putting autotune on someone's voice, sometimes it matters to know where to put it. So just at least having an instrument will push you a long way in your production journey.
It's definitely true. I mean, there's something about connecting with an instrument that actually connects you to the whole world of music and the things you can do. And it feels like one instrument teaches you another all at the same time.
Exactly. You take lesser time than if you've never played another instrument before to learn another instrument.
thank you so much, Alan, for being on the Recording Magic podcast.
It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, this is for me personally a dream come true. You know, sometimes you cast your net and hope that you'll get the big fish, and I think we definitely got a big fish this time.
Thanks, man.
And we want to see you again here on the show talking more about recording both the spiritual elements of it and the technical elements for
100%.
everybody else who is on their way up or who has arrived. So can you just tell us, the viewers, where they can get a hold of you, if they're interested, and all your handles?
Okay, so it's Rhythm in Africa on across all platforms. So, like I didn't find anything else called Rhythm in Africa. Like for real, no one thought of that before,
Yeah.
dude. So Rhythm in Africa. If you type that anywhere, you will find me.
Okay. Thank you very much.